Hello, my YouTube friends. I wanted to talk about the weather just a little bit for today. I'm getting a little worried again. Last year in Michigan, this started again, and it rained for a month straight, pretty much. And it looks like we've already had a week of rain, and we're due for at least another week before we even get a glimpse of sunshine. I don't know if you could see. Let me see if I can get you back to those fields back there. Look they're starting to flood out again. This is what we had last year in Michigan. See those fields back there, all that water? This is really scary. You know, they do special things here in Michigan and probably in a lot of farming communities. They tile, which means they put perforated pipe down through the entire field, and it's down 3 to 4 feet in the ground, and it helps drain some of this water off. The problem is, though, that when it's that saturated, they can't get the equipment out there to plant. Now, hopefully, this guy behind me, he planted a few weeks ago. I think he put beans in this year, either beans or corn, because he's on a rotation type thing. And last year, the same thing happened. He planted, hoping to get it done early, and it flooded out. And the majority of it rotted. The seeds rotted and died in the fields. And he had to come back and replant again. The situation was, we're facing a bit of a food crisis right now, and people think it's directly related to the COVID-19. But I'm here to tell you, it started last year. In my area, I watch a lot of the farm reports. I watch a lot of rural news. They talk about the farming and the situation with the crops and things like that. So I try to keep up to date on that. And last year in Michigan alone, now I really study Michigan the most, but it's happened in the rest of the country. In Michigan alone, they were not even able to plant 25% of their land. When it came time to harvest what was grown, they lost another 40% to the weather. So you're talking more than 50% of what should have been grown last year was not able to be grown or harvested, a combination of the two. So things like your dried beans, split peas, legumes, lentils, things like that, they were heavily hit last year, and they lost minimum 40% of the crop. So, when we get into a food crisis, we start relying on some of those things. And, a couple of my friends who've never had to really rely on, stocking up, they ate out at restaurants a lot, and they never really worried about cooking at home until this quarantine hit. They're like, I can't believe I can't find navy beans anywhere. I can't find pinto beans anywhere. I can't even buy them online. So if you have an opportunity that you can purchase a few of these things and they're things that you use, I would, recommend strongly that even if you pick up a pound or two every time you go to the store, the prices have skyrocketed on them in my area. I had a little tiny 1 pound bag of red beans that I showed in a video yesterday. That was almost $2. I've never paid that much for beans in my life, but it's a situation right now. So I'm hoping and praying that our weather breaks soon enough. You can see I got a little bit planted in the garden, some of my early crops. I'm hoping they don't get destroyed. Last year, most of them drowned, literally drowned. I put out, lots of cabbage and broccoli, and I think out of 20 broccoli I put out, I had 4 that lived. I replanted, but, by then it was a little late in the summer, and the bugs destroyed them, no matter what I did, because I won't use really harsh chemicals. I go as organic as possible. And, I hand pick off the butterflies. I'm trying to do the row covers and hoping that the butterflies don't get those little green caterpillars all over them. But, the other part of this shortage from the meat is that a lot of the beef growers were culling cows early, so the meat prices were a little bit less last year. And they weren't, breeding their cows as much because they didn't have the hay. In our area, we should get at least 3 hay cuttings. Some farmers got 1. And if they were lucky, they got 2, but the first cutting was so wet, you know, I wouldn't buy the first cutting because I was afraid it was going to rot before. You know, I won't feed moldy hay to my goats because it'll kill them. So, you know, the prices on hay were much, much higher than usual last year. At the auction, where I could buy hay for, you know, $1.50 a bale, they were going for up to $11 a bale last year. So, oh, Girlie's out in the rain. See my girlie? My poor lonely girlie. She's looking for a man lately. She keeps wandering off down the street when she hears the wild turkeys. But anyway, so you know, if you're in an area, I know out west last year they had huge floods. So let's pray they don't get flooded out again this year. And you know, people keep talking about these victory gardens and things like that. And if you have any opportunity whatsoever, you know, think about the long-term issues here that could happen once again. You know, we could end up with, you know, flooded out fields, and some states lost 90% of their potato crops and things like that. So I'm a little bit worried. I'm hoping that it settles down. I'm going to be working more on my little hydroponics. Now I'm thinking I may need to do something outside on a larger scale if this continues, but it's going to have to be under a cover of some kind because, you know, I can't flood it out like this, but... So how's it in your area? Are you having a lot of rain? Are you worried about the floods? Or, you know, is it just a situational thing here in the Midwest that it's decided to really dump on us again? I hope you are all having a wonderful day. I hope you're stocking up your pantries. I'm going to try to do a recipe in the next day or two from my ration books. We'll see how that works. Although... I have to admit right now, I do not have a lot of the crops they used in the UK. I don't have turnips, parsnips, things like that because they're just not that common right now. And I haven't been to the store in, wow, like 6 weeks now. So things are getting a little bit low in the pantry. And we're going to do what we can, and I'll replicate them the best I can. And we'll see how it goes. I do have some cabbage, and I have a cauliflower the neighbor gave me. A little bit of broccoli. Well, maybe not any more broccoli, but I have a few frozen vegetables, which they did not use a lot back then. They just didn't have the way to freeze them then. But it looks like Girlie's out enjoying eating the worms right now. Anyway, let's hope this settles down. I can't have these great big puddles all over my yard. My field hasn't flooded yet, which is surprising. That green over there is mine. That's my hay field. And I'm really surprised that hasn't flooded yet. But it's just starting. We're supposed to get a solid week of this stuff. So let's hope it doesn't get much worse out here. I hope you all are enjoying. If you have a nice sunny day, go sit on your porch, do whatever you can, soak up some vitamin D. Pass it my way if you can. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic day.